Guys, this is a brief introduction on Liberian English. In case you don't know where Liberia is, here is Africa. There is Liberia. It's on the west coast. So it does have a lot of west coast African influences. There are a couple different types of varieties of Liberian English. There's Standard Liberian English or Liberian Settler English, Crew Pidgin English, and Liberian Creole English. And these all have different influences and ethnic variances between all of them. But the most popular one and probably the most common one is Standard Liberian English and then Liberian Creole English, which is used mostly in the interior of Liberia. There's not a whole lot of literature on Liberian English, but one of them is Teaching Goldma How to Heal Herself by Bafana Yawan. As for prestige, value of children, and established orthography in school books, American English is preferred as the academic language. So everything in their schools will be taught in American English, and it is preferred in a more formal setting over Liberian English. As for sociolinguistic settings and variables and their and its role in schools, Liberian English will typically take a back seat because it's not as preferred as American English. But in everyday speech outside of the academic area, Liberian English is preferred, and you'll see that spoken in the streets and by most people. As for schooling, they only teach kids up to a certain grade level. They do have a kindergarten and pre-primary level, and then they also have a primary and elementary school level, so typically kindergarten and then grades 1 through 6, and they'll be taught basic reading, English, arithmetic, general science, and the Christian Bible. As for diaspora, this is a direct quote from one of our sources. Noun, verb, agreement, word order, inflections, and speed, deletion of consonants, all of these things point to the linguistic and comprehensive nature of indigenous African languages and the overall evolution of the syntax of Black people. There are many parallels in the spoken languages of diaspora. For Liberian English, there's a close relationship to AAVE, or African American Vernacular English, given the influence of freed American slaves. So the prognosis overall for long-term Liberian English is that English, specifically American English, is the official language of the country, and it is used in public, private schools, and universities. But most of the population is bilingual, competent in several ethnic and indigenous languages, as well as French, given the West Coast geography. But English, specifically American, is preferred as and is used more in an educational setting, and the Creole form is used just in everyday life. So there are three main variations in Liberian English when we're talking about phonetics and such. There is syllable and consonant deletion, consonant replacement, and vowel differentiation or variation. We'll just say variation. So a lot of times the last syllables of a word will be deleted entirely, or they'll be replaced with a different vowel. So one of our sources, John Victor Singler, gives a whole lot of examples in a book, An Introduction to Liberian English. Go check it out. So a lot of post-vocalic nasal consonants are deleted. Consonant clusters are often deleted entirely. And when it comes to consonant replacement, a lot of the TH sounds, the th and the th, that are common in other dialects of English are replaced with a D or V, depending on where the TH occurs in the word. Sometimes it'll disappear entirely, but more often than not, it'll be replaced with a D or a V to maintain that placement. But for example, in a word like those, it'll be pronounced more like doze. So if it's at the beginning of a word, it'll typically be, the TH sound will typically be replaced with a D. If the TH is in the middle of a word, like as in breathing, forgive me, then it'll sound more like breathe instead. So that's, it also is an R-less language, so they'll tend to drop their R's at the ends of words, or other places in the words, and then just elongate the vowel that occurs before it. So there's a bit of syllable and consonant deletion and replacement, and then there's also vowel changes. So they typically simplify diphthongs. So in English we have the standards I, ow, oi. And so if a Liberian were to say tie, boy, now, then it would sound more like ta, bo, na, or something along those lines. The last part of the diphthong is usually dropped and replaced with a simpler vowel. Also in words like hit and whip, the vowel will be changed to het and wep, so it'll be a lower vowel preferred over a higher vowel. So that is just a little bit about Liberian English. We hope you enjoyed this presentation, and look at our sources for more info on Liberian English. Thank you.